No writers were harmed in the production of this podcast.
Hey, everybody. Today, I have a fellow brother, law enforcement dude, Trick O'Donnell, Sarge. Sarge is on the show from the Cops and Writers podcast. Sarge, welcome to the Writers Dossier.
Well, thank you so much, Jeff. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you betcha, man. I wore my best hoodie for the occasion. People who are watching on YouTube, allegedly. This is one of my favorites. So, I mean, allegedly. Come on. Hey, so tell me, how many times have you been driving the patrol car and someone in the back smarting off and they said something like, "Hey, I know the law"? Have you ever had that happen?
Well, a lot of times it's like I know my rights, and I'm like, well, I know my lefts too. I've got a right, I've got a left. You know, I would always come back with that. And it's like, okay. Then it's like, well, then if you know the law so well and you know your rights so well, you know why you're in handcuffs in the back of my squad car right now, right? And then, But usually when they're mouthing off like that, they're under the influence of many things. I mean, clear, logic just doesn't enter the equation.
Yeah, I get it. They're having one of their worst days, probably.
Correct.
You know, it's tough to, not have some kind of compassion for what's going on there. But every once in a while, I don't want to say that I ever did this, but I heard that sometimes it was fun to talk to someone in the back and it's like, "What did you say?" And you lean back a little bit. What did you say? And then they lean forward and they say, "I know the law." And then I heard that some people tap their brakes really hard right there, just right then. I don't know.
Well, people talk.
That's a different department in another time.
Exactly. And the statute of limitations is over, I'm sure. But, it's amazing to me how people would talk themselves into handcuffs and into going to jail. I mean, with the law thing that pops out in my head, I was a cop. And part of my district was University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. We didn't go there very often. They had their own police department, but there was a lot of student housing in the fringe. And we get a call for, is a 911 hang up. Well, we got to go. And it was a female and she sounded like she was in distress. So here come the cops. It's my assignment. Knock on the front door. And it's kind of a rundown house and it had a crow's nest on top. And that's where she called from. It was more or less an illegal, it's not up to fire code, apartment. Yep, there where she would have to go through the lower to get to her apartment. There was no outside egress. So it's like, okay. So they're having a big old party, down below. And, I knock on the door and the kid's got the door just like open a little bit. There's the screen door. He says, "You need a warrant to come in here." And I said, "No, not really. Not under these circumstances." And I said, "You know what? Tell you what, I'll give you a minute, hide all the pot. The underagers can run in the bedroom, whatever. I don't give two shits. Just, I need to go upstairs and make sure this lady who called 911 and sounded like she needed us is okay. Once I'm convinced of that, I'll leave the story. I'm not interested in your little party and your little dope smoking friends and whatever, your underage drinkers. That's not the Milwaukee Police Department right now. There's people getting shot on the other side of the district that I know I'm going to have to go to later on. So I'm not going to get tied up with some silliness with you." So he's like, no. So I open the screen door and I have my finger out and I'm like, "Sir," I mean, this is a kid. He's like 19, 20 years old. He goes to bite my finger. And I'm like, I've never had that happen to me before. So I grabbed his lapel and I literally threw him off his porch, click, click, off to jail you go. We go inside, there's kids scurrying everywhere. We go upstairs. The girl was drunk. She's fine. All right. And I'm like, "Well, you get to go to jail today." So he's like, "Well, I know the law." And I'm like, "No." But the coup de grace of the whole thing was, he's crying like a little girl in the back of my squad car. I'm like, whatever. And now he's in real jail. It's a temporary holding facility. It's at a district station, but it's really icky. It's in the middle of the hood. It's gross and it smells and, yada, yada, yada. So his brother comes and I'm like, "Hey, O'Donnell, you got a visitor at the front desk." And I'm like, "I never have visitors." I'm like, "All right." So I'm done booking this kid in and he's crying like a little baby. He's in the cell just crying up a storm. And I'm like, whatever. So I go to the front counter and here's this kid that's a little bit older. "Hey, I'm, Jeff Circle's brother. I'm a lawyer. I'm going to represent him." I said, "He's getting a ticket. It's like a stop sign ticket or a speeding ticket." I said, "It's disorderly conduct. I don't have time for this." And he's like, Well,
Yeah.
and at the same time, he's got a camcorder. He says, I'm recording all this. This is, in the 90s, he's got this big honking camcorder and he sets it on the counter. And he said, this is evidence. Yeah. And I'm like, okay. And he said, well, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, are you really an attorney? And he said, well, I'm going to law school. I'm pre-law. Actually, I'm not in law school at Marquette, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, that's what I thought. I said, you can pick him up at 8 o'clock this morning. This was like at 2 o'clock in the morning. And he says, 8 o'clock. I said, you just talked him into staying till 8. I said, I was going to release him in like a half hour, but because of you, he gets to sit back there with all the rest of the convicts. He can tell stories to you later on. If you want to wait in the lobby, that's cool. Or just come on back. I don't care. But because of you, and I'm going to let him know, because of you're the one that's causing this. And so yeah, be careful what you wish for and what you say.
Sarge, you never can tell. Sometimes it's all it takes is an experience like that to totally get someone on the straight and narrow. So hopefully that person is doing great things out there for some nonprofit today because he learned
I
a lesson
hope
as
so.
a kid.
He's saving little kids or raising orphanages in third world countries. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, it's good for him. I hope so.
Medicine San Baudet. So yeah, okay.